Maybe, Niamh, I'll ask you for a few thoughts, first of all, about the importance of the Glencree project, the importance of being able to create these type of stages and these moments where people feel able to talk.
Thanks, Barney. I suppose from Glencree's perspective, we were set up in 1974, as some have mentioned, Barbara mentioned in the video, in response to the Troubles in the North, as a respite centre initially for people fleeing the violence up here. And out of those sessions, those residentials, the dialogue formed. We've talked a lot about building relationships. So the opportunity to be together, to meet the other, has been extremely powerful and has always underpinned our work in Glencree. As we're teams of mediators and facilitators, it's about creating that safe space, but also as there's no, I suppose, one-size-fits-all model for reconciliation, for work with victims and survivors. We don't take a one-size-fits-all model to the work that we do. I think as testament to this programme so expertly run by Roisin, it is the detail, the groundwork, the one-on-one, the conversations, the preparation that leads up to people being comfortable coming into a room together.
No surprises, Niamh.
No surprises, and also managing people's expectations, Barney, in terms of what they can come into the room. You sometimes you find people who they have a list of criteria, they have certain ultimatums, and I suppose it's working through that and breaking that down that is so fundamental, that they're ready to listen, they're ready to hear different views. You mentioned difficult conversations. It feels like all we have in Glencree sometimes are very difficult conversations, but it is so important to have a space where you can do that. I suppose I'm particularly mindful of one example, slightly outside of Northern Ireland, where we brought the victims of the Birmingham bombings to Glencree. And these are people who were largely ignored by their own government and felt very much at sea, a very diverse group in terms of victims and survivors wanting very different things. And it always stands out to me as quite a pivotal event in Glencree's victims and survivors work, in the difference in when those people arrived and not knowing what they were coming into. There was a good old sideways Irish rain coming off the mountain and this old military barracks, and what were they arriving to? And the transformation, I mean, Barbara and Will would have facilitated some of those sessions, but the transformation with those people from the beginning until the end of the weekend, in, I suppose, sharing their stories, being listened to. We engaged with the British ambassador. There were former combatants who were there as well. They met with Simon Coveney, the Minister for Foreign Affairs. They met with the Oireachtas Committee that Fergus is chairing. They also were hosted by the President of Ireland and Áras an Uachtaráin, and had the opportunity to ring the peace bell. And it was so fundamental to them that they were acknowledged, that some people who, I suppose, there was one lady in particular who I remember myself and Barbara kind of had noticed maybe had something to say, but she wasn't quite ready to. And we did a little bit of kind of individual work with her in the break between the sessions. And she shared things she'd never shared before, that others within the group had never shared. And there are many within the group who are still seeking justice, but for so many others, they got what they needed. It really helped transform them, and it is such a humble experience to witness that and to be part of that, and it's a responsibility that we take very seriously in Glencree. We talk about solutions to the legacy issue. For those who are living with that loss, they live with that throughout their lives, but if we can give them some peace and some comfort within that, that's a worthwhile endeavour.